Thank you so much, Cantor, Kerith, Shapiro. Thank you. This is my first taste of Shabbat with you or with anyone else. So I'm very happy to be here, and Shabbat Shalom to everyone.
Shabbat Shalom. I'm so glad you're there. It was nice when you were there at the beginning on the screen next to me when I was singing Hine Matov, and then you were gone. So I'm glad you came back.
I'm back. God bless the split screen. Welcome everyone to our Taste of Shabbat. I think many of you know I've quoted my father many times, who used to say a bissel is a plot, a little is a lot. This little taste of Shabbat hopefully will bring a lot of meaning to your family table. Let's begin. We welcome Shabbat. Cantor Kerith is going to help us. There we go. There are the candles. We'll do candles, Kiddush and Motzi. We hope some of you are joining us at home doing the same thing, or will be shortly. Let's welcome Shabbat now.
My candles don't want to light, Rabbi Leader.
You'll get there. It's not always easy to bring light.
I brought out the special pretty matches and everything.
There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlikeh
להדליקנה של Shabbat.
Beautiful. Now we've brought light into the world. We'll bring some sweetness into the world. Wine for our people is a symbol of sweetness and happiness and joy.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu b'shabbat kodsho b'yahava u'ratzon inchiranu zikaron lemaseh bereshit ki hu yom techila למקרא קודש, זכר יציאת מצרים. כיוונו בחרת, אותנו קידשת, מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך, באהבה וברצון, הנחלתנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת. Amen.
Hi, everyone. Love the graphics there, John. That's a nice touch.
And if you have a challah at home, I invite you to hold it up as we thank God for partnering with us, bringing forth bread from the earth. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
And now let's continue Welcome Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. You know, there's a legend about this song Shalom Aleichem, which is that an angel is dispatched to visit every home where we sing Shalom Aleichem to welcome to Shabbat. And if the home is beautiful and filled with warmth and joy and love and the smell of good food and candles and wine and warm challah, the angel offers a blessing. So may this be every week. And if the angel arrives and discovers that the home is a place where there's no preparation for Shabbat, no recognition of Shabbat, just another night, the angel also says, may it be the same every week. In other words, we have the power to create our own identity in our home as Jews, and we can either make of it the great opportunity it is, or miss the blessings of Shabbat. So obviously, you know what side we're on. So we're very glad you're with us tonight, and we hope you're having a beautiful Shabbos in your home. Shalom Aleichem.
השחית מלאכי עליון נמדדת מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך מלכוני לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך שלום עליכם שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון נמדדת מלאכי הקדוש ברוך צאתכם לשלום מלאכי השלום מלאכי עליון ממלך מלאכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך שלום עליכם שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת מלאכי עליון נמדדת מלאכי הקדוש ברוך
That's such a beautiful melody, Kerith. Who wrote that?
You know, that is a melody by the one and only Debbie Friedman.
It's beautiful.
And it was one of her last compositions. And, you know, you talked about inviting that beauty into our homes. And I love this melody because it feels so particularly Jewishly beautiful to me.
Yeah. And where was Debbie from? St. Paul, Minnesota, right across the river from where I grew up. Yeah. I knew her well. She was an enormous talent. Enormous. To begin my brief teaching about the Parsha today, this week, I want to start with a question that I asked the great American Jewish historian Jonathan Sarna a couple of weeks ago, when we were talking about the Civil War, which was one of the few times in America we know of, in fact, probably the only time in America that we know of, where Jews fought against each other in a war. And I mentioned to him that whenever I tell people that this has happened often in history, the Torah portion Pinchas, where this zealous Jew kills another Jew because he thinks he's being immoral. The Maccabees, it's definitely a civil war. The story of Hanukkah is a civil war of Jew against Jew. World War I, the Civil War, World War I, Jews fought against each other. And I asked him what he thought the lesson was of this business about Jew fighting against Jew. And he said, well, if I had to boil it down to a single thing, it would be the power of distance and time. Because he said, you know, all these years after the Civil War, Jews from the North and the South, and frankly, people mostly from the North and South, most people are asking themselves, what were we fighting about? What was that all about? Why did all of those people have to die? We asked the same question about the Vietnam War. Look at Vietnam today. It's a Western capitalist country. What were we fighting about? World War I, millions dead. What was it all about? Why was it so important? There are exceptions. It's obvious what World War II was about and why it was important. But most conflicts throughout history, from the perspective of 100 or 200 years later or 300 years later, they leave us wondering, what was that all about? Was it really worth the price we paid? And in a sense, that's what happens in this week's Torah portion between two brothers, Jacob and Esau, who, when they were young, Jacob cheated his brother Esau out of his birthright blessing, out of his rightful inheritance. They went their separate ways. Esau was very angry, wanted to kill his brother. And Jacob runs away to his uncle's home. And there he falls in love with his first cousin, Rachel, and he marries both of his first cousins, which was not uncommon back then, Leah and Rachel. He works for his father-in-law for 20 years. He's deceived by his own father-in-law, much in the way he deceived his own father to steal the birthright blessing from his brother Esau. He hears in the middle of the night, finally, in this week's Parsha, that his brother Esau, whom he hasn't seen for 20 years, is marching toward him with 400 armed men. And of course, Jacob panics. He divides his family into two camps so that if Esau attacks one camp, at least the other camp will get away. And then he falls asleep, expecting, frankly, to be killed the next morning. And in his dream, he has this dream of wrestling with this sort of man-angel. It's not quite clear, is this an angel or a human being in the basement of Jacob's psyche? They wrestle all night, and finally morning is coming, and this man God, this man angel says, "Let me go." And Jacob says, "I won't let you go till you bless me." So he blesses Jacob, and then he wrenches his thigh and his hip so that he walks with a limp for the rest of his life. And then the dream ends, and his name is changed from Jacob, Yaakov, the supplanter, the one who went around his older brother, to Yisrael, the one who struggled or struggles with God. And then he wakes up, and Esau's coming toward him. He sends gifts ahead of Esau. Esau's approaching closer and closer, more gifts, more servants, more servants. And finally, they're face to face. And Esau, rather than being angry, looks at his brother and says, who are these people with you? Introduce me to your family. And he does. And then, as the Torah tells it, these two brothers, they hug, they kiss, and they weep. Because after 20 years, they ask themselves, why? What was all that fighting about? Was it really worth it? All that drama, all that dysfunction, all that deception? We're brothers. Let's love each other. That's what the perspective of time gave them. And so here, I think, is the great lesson within all of this. That what they were really able to do was to find empathy for each other after 20 years. And the great lesson to me is, and I try to do this as often as I can, before I fire off an angry email or make a snide comment or become super anxious about something, I ask myself, how important will this be in 300 years? Will it matter? How important will it be in 100 years, 70 years, 20 years? How important will this annoyance, the traffic, the wait in line, how important will it be in 20 minutes? And if the answer is not very, then we can really pause and appreciate seeing things almost as if from afar, and turn down our anger and turn down our anxiety and turn down our self-righteousness and have some empathy. And that's the kind of thing that enables, as Thanksgiving approaches, our families to really be loving families, and for our stories to end with a hug and a tear and a kiss, rather than in anger and fear and anxiety and dysfunction. So let's remember to ask ourselves that question. how much will it matter in 20 minutes or 20 years or 100 years or 300 years? And if the answer is not much, show some empathy for yourself and the other. And then we'll all have greater peace in our hearts and in our families and in our friendships and in our businesses and in our lives and hopefully in the world. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. We're going to join together in these words of Shema. Please sing along with us at home. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Rabbi Leader, I think you need to unmute. I think someone may have muted you. It wasn't me, I promise. My hands were on the guitar the whole time.
I muted myself, which is kind of what I was talking about earlier in my life. Sometimes it's best to mute yourself and let it pass. If we really want peace, let's think about things from a longer perspective than our own immediate angst and anxiety and anger. Take the long view and have a more peaceful life. That's one of the beautiful things that I think Shabbat and religion offer us in general, the long view. Let's conclude with Oseh Shalom, the peace we all seek.
And as these words come from us to you, we'll invite you to put your own blessing of peace and sign off for Shabbat in the chat. We'd love to hear from you. Oseh Shalom bimromav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, 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 Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Thank you, Cantor, Kerith, Shapiro.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you,
Shalom, everyone.
Rabbi Leader.
Have a beautiful, beautiful Shabbos, everyone.